is a truculent individual to do with attitude because he don't want to hear what other people gotta say.
The greatest debate in basketball history refuses to die. Is LeBron James, the unstoppable force who's dominated for over 2 decades, the true GOAT? Or does the crown still belong to Michael Jordan, the man who never lost a finals and was once called a god in gym shorts by Larry Bird himself? Tonight, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins go head-to-head in a showdown that's got NBA fans glued to their screens. Don't blink, because by the end of this, you might just see the GOAT conversation in a way you never have before. The debate over who truly reigns supreme, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, seems destined to live forever, and each revival only adds more fire to the conversation. This time, it's Stephen A. Smith squaring off against Kendrick Perkins, both tossing fuel onto the flames in their own unique ways. Stephen A. dives in with his signature no-nonsense delivery, cutting through the chatter with the precision of a blade.
The matter is this: LeBron James was a pass-first dude. We understand his game.
Kendrick Perkins, on the other hand, stormed in with his trademark thunder, loud, animated, and determined to win the crowd through sheer force of conviction. Put him side by side with Stephen A. Smith, and the result is nothing short of explosive television. NBA fans can't help but stay glued, because at the center of their clash lies the question that has fueled barbershop arguments, locker room debates, and endless Twitter wars. Who truly deserves the title of the greatest of all time? Is it LeBron James, the iron-willed workhorse who's dominated the game for over 20 years without slowing down? Or does the crown still sit with Michael Jordan, the ruthless competitor who didn't just play basketball, but redefined what greatness looked like for everyone after him? In this breakdown, we're unpacking every verbal jab, every sharp retort, and every fiery claim from both men. So just how differently each one views the GOAT conversation. And by the time the dust settles, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. For Stephen A. and many others, the throne still rests firmly with Michael Jordan.
It's not an individual sport.
All right. Well, we talking individuals, though. But we talking individuals right now. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was called God in gym shorts. I'm going to repeat that.
Don't blink, because you'll want to catch every moment of this showdown. Go ahead, tap that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop of the action. Now, straight to the heat. Stephen A. Smith wasted no breath before calling out Kendrick Perkins. His critique? That Perkins leans more on volume and swagger than on evidence or substance. That single strike lit the fuse, and from there, the debate exploded into full-blown chaos.
Talents are not to be questioned. One of the greatest.
Stephen A. isn't just tossing out words, he's throwing down a gauntlet. His message cuts clean. Kendrick Perkins may bring the noise and the flair, but volume alone doesn't equal truth in the GOAT debate. And he's right. Too often, passion gets mistaken for proof. Just because someone shouts their case with conviction doesn't mean the facts are on their side. Stephen A. showed up locked and loaded, making it clear he won't be swayed by theatrics or empty hype. What makes this so powerful is how closely it mirrors the larger basketball conversation. LeBron's supporters ride hard for him, pointing to his unmatched longevity, his ability to play every role on the floor, and his 2 decades of dominance. But once you peel away the emotion, what's left are the hard numbers, the undeniable results, and the legacy that speaks louder than any fan ever could. And when those pieces are laid out, one name still towers over the rest: Michael Jordan.
There is MJ, and then there's LeBron.
Stephen A. cuts straight to the point with Perkins. You don't get to rewrite history by yelling louder. Bring the receipts. And when it comes to Michael Jordan, the receipts are impossible to ignore. 6 finals trips, 6 championships, 0 losses. Pure dominance, delivered in what many still argue was the most physical, unforgiving era the NBA has ever seen. That resume can't be dismissed with bravado or sheer volume. His line, "Think you're going to scare me? Not happening today," lands heavy. It proves he's not battling vibes or theatrics, he's anchoring his argument in facts and legacy. And that's a turning point, because it reframes the entire conversation. Greatness isn't about who shouts the loudest, it's about history, context, and achievements that can't be denied. By those measures, Jordan's crown remains secure, his record speaking louder than any debate. But here's where Stephen A.'s stance gets even more compelling. He doesn't ignore LeBron's greatness. Too many people miss this part. Right there in the heat of the debate, he acknowledges LeBron's brilliance, giving him full respect as one of the most talented, versatile, and dominant players ever to touch the hardwood. That nuance matters. Stephen A. isn't tearing LeBron down just to elevate Jordan. Instead, his offering perspective, celebrating both while making it clear why, in his view, Jordan's legacy still stands tallest.
You said he's a pass-first player. Well, he sure about to break the record.
Yes.
He sure about to break the record.
That's right. He's phenomenal.
Pass-first player.
He's phenomenal.
Acknowledging LeBron's greatness doesn't automatically mean handing him the GOAT crown. Too often, that distinction gets twisted. If you argue he isn't number one, some people take it as an attempt to erase his accomplishments altogether. Stephen A. refuses to let that narrative slide. He draws the line firmly. LeBron is extraordinary, historic, and unquestionably iconic. But when the discussion shifts to the greatest of all time, Jordan still sits alone at the top. Stephen A. doesn't sugarcoat it. He honors LeBron as an all-time legend, but makes it clear that doesn't make him the legend. That perspective reshapes the debate. You don't need to rewrite history or diminish Jordan's legacy in order to celebrate LeBron's brilliance. The truth can hold both. LeBron James as one of the greatest athletes the game has ever seen, and Michael Jordan as the enduring standard, the one every other legend is measured against.
God in Gym Shorts by Larry Bird. Let's remember that.
LeBron James has a resume most players could only dream of: 4 championships, multiple MVPs, and record after record etched into the history books. His legacy is undeniable. But there's a difference between greatness and ultimate greatness. And that's where Michael Jordan stands, on the summit, the absolute peak, the standard everyone else is measured against. LeBron belongs in that rare air just beneath, alongside icons like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson. The fact that his name even lives in the same conversation as Jordan speaks volumes about how extraordinary his career has been. Still, as Stephen A. drives home, being second to Jordan isn't an insult, it's reality. It still makes LeBron one of the most transformative, elite figures the game has ever seen. His talent, versatility, and achievements are unquestionable. But the ultimate crown? That still rests on Jordan's head. And here's where Stephen A. sharpens his argument: context. Jordan didn't dominate a watered-down league. He carved through rosters stacked with Hall of Famers, against defenders who played far more physically than anything today's NBA allows. Back then, it was survival of the fittest. And Jordan didn't just survive, he conquered. Beyond the competition, Jordan carried a burden LeBron never fully shouldered. He was the NBA's global face during its biggest boom. Night after night, he bore the crushing expectations of fans, media, and sponsors, with the eyes of the entire world fixed on him. And under that pressure, he never folded. 6 trips to the finals, 6 victories, 6 rings in 8 years, without ever letting a series slip away. That's not just dominance. That's perfection. And that, Stephen A. argues, is what cements Michael Jordan as the undisputed GOAT. Stephen A.'s message couldn't be clearer. The conversation doesn't begin with LeBron and then shift to Jordan. It starts with Jordan, period. Here's the benchmark, the measuring stick, the gold standard. That distinction matters because it signals that Jordan's place at the top isn't up for negotiation. He defines the debate. Everyone else, LeBron included, comes after. Jordan is the shadow every player since has chased, and not one has managed to surpass. Stephen A. drives that home with force. There's Michael Jordan, and then there's everyone else. Think about the obstacles Jordan faced. The bruising bad boy Pistons who tried to wear him down physically. The stacked dynasties like the Utah Jazz who threw everything at him. Through it all, Jordan never flinched, never ran from the smoke. When the pressure was highest, he delivered, every single time. LeBron, as extraordinary as he is, doesn't have that spotless track record. His finals resume includes cracks, multiple losses, painful heartbreakers that fans still debate to this day. And that's the separation Stephen A. highlights. Jordan's legacy is built on flawless dominance in the biggest moments, while LeBron, for all his greatness, can't claim the same perfection. Kendrick Perkins fires back in defense of LeBron, arguing that he's been unfairly boxed in as just a pass-first player. In Perkins' view, history will eventually recognize LeBron as not only a masterful playmaker but also an elite scorer. His claim is that LeBron's offensive firepower is so dangerous it will erase the stigma. But here's where the counterpunch slips. If LeBron is nearly 20 years into his career and still fighting the perception that scoring isn't his natural identity, how can he be placed above Michael Jordan, the most ruthless scoring machine basketball has ever known? LeBron's greatness has always lived in his versatility. He can do everything: score, rebound, pass, defend. But in being everything at once, he never became that singular, unstoppable force Jordan was. Jordan didn't just score, he dismantled defenses, leading the league in scoring 10 straight seasons. It wasn't an argument, it was reality. Yes, LeBron has had massive scoring years, but scoring has never defined his legacy the way it defined Jordan's. Even Perkins acknowledges that LeBron has always battled the pass-first label. Jordan never had to. From the beginning, his identity as the deadliest offensive weapon alive was unquestioned. Teammates, opponents, and fans all knew it. It was etched into his name. That's the crucial distinction Stephen A. seizes on. What Perkins frames as LeBron's strength actually highlights the gap. In trying to rewrite LeBron's legacy, he ends up underscoring why Jordan still sits on the throne. Jordan never needed to prove he could score. He was the standard from day one. Whispers about LeBron's killer instinct have followed him for years, the lingering perception that he sometimes hesitates to dominate offensively. And that's exactly where Jordan always keeps the edge. Stephen A. drives the point home with cold facts. LeBron will never match Jordan's championship record, and he doesn't earn the same MVP count either. This isn't opinion, it's history. 6 championships in 6 finals appearances, undefeated once he got there. 6 finals MVPs, because every single time, Jordan wasn't just present, he was the driving force, the reason the Bulls ruled the basketball world. Add 5 regular season MVPs, earned in an era stacked with all-time greats at every position, and the picture is complete. These weren't empty numbers. This was dominance in its purest form, a run unmatched before or since. By comparison, LeBron's resume, though legendary, tells a different story. 4 championships in 10 finals trips, a record marred with painful losses that still fuel debates to this day. His 4 MVPs are historic, but his reign has always felt shared, split among contemporaries in a way Jordan's never was. The truth is simple. Michael Jordan didn't just play in his era, he owned it. He controlled the league, the narrative, and the culture in a way no one before or after has ever matched. That's the cold reality Stephen A. hurls back at Perkins. LeBron cannot, and will not, eclipse Jordan in these immortal categories. The record is sealed. The bar is set. And Jordan still stands untouched at the summit. Perkins pushes back, reminding everyone that basketball is a team sport, that championships are collective accomplishments, not the work of one man. On the surface, that's fair. Of course 5 players take the floor. Of course Jordan had teammates. But Perkins misses Stephen A.'s larger point. Nobody argues Jordan carried the Bulls single-handedly. What they are saying is that Jordan was the force that elevated everyone around him. He was the gravitational pull, the centerpiece that transformed role players into champions and good squads into dynasties. That's the difference. Championships don't happen without a presence like that. And Jordan had it in spades. He was the one who always seized the moment, never blinked, never folded, never needed the perfect setup. LeBron, by contrast, has played with handpicked rosters, built super teams, and carefully assembled situations tailored to maximize his success, yet his record still falls short. Perkins leans on the team game argument as if it wipes away those blemishes. But in truth, it only highlights Jordan's dominance even more. Jordan wasn't just on a team, he was the team. He was the heartbeat, the intimidator, the standard-bearer, and the nightmare every opponent feared. That's why Stephen A. slices through Perkins' defense so sharply, because excuses can't stand when true greatness is staring you in the face. Jordan wasn't just a player, he was the ultimate leader in a team sport. That's why those 6 rings, and his perfect finals record, tower over any counterpoint. No special arrangements. No cherry-picked rosters. Just pure, unrelenting dominance. Then Stephen A. drops one of the heaviest receipts of the night. Larry Bird himself once called Michael Jordan a god in gym shorts. And that's not hype, not fandom. That's coming from Larry Legend, a man with 3 championships, 3 MVPs, and his own legendary battles against Magic Johnson in the 80s. When someone of that stature bows his head and calls Jordan divine on the hardwood, it speaks louder than any stat sheet ever could. Larry Bird wasn't known for flattery. He was ruthless, cutthroat, and brutally honest. For him to use words like that wasn't praise. It was acknowledgement that Jordan existed on a plane above everyone else, that he transcended the sport itself. And here's the kicker. No one, not a single legend, has ever spoken about LeBron in those same godlike terms. Respect? Absolutely. Greatness? Without question. But reverence? Fear? Divinity? That belongs to Jordan alone. Stephen A. presses this point with force. Does Perkins even grasp the magnitude of that? Because if you do, the debate is over before it begins. When the warriors of the game, The ones who know the grind, the bruises, the pressure, call Jordan untouchable. The conversation ends right there. And that's the truth rising from the smoke. LeBron James is great. No one denies it. But Michael Jordan? He's immortal. He's the measuring stick, the eternal standard, the god of the game. And Stephen A. makes sure that message hits with finality. At the end of the day, the verdict feels almost inevitable. LeBron James has built one of the greatest resumes basketball has ever seen: 4 championships, countless records, and 2 decades of dominance at the highest level. His greatness is undeniable. But when the conversation shifts to ultimate greatness, the crown still belongs to Michael Jordan. The truth is hard to escape. LeBron will never touch Jordan's 6 championships. He will never stack up the same MVP haul. And he will never command the same universal reverence that Jordan earned, not just from fans, but from his peers and rivals alike. Kendrick Perkins can lean on the team sport argument as much as he wants, insisting that championships are the product of a collective unit. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. After all, basketball is played 5-on-5. But even that defense collapses under the sheer weight of Jordan's legacy. Nobody claims Jordan did it alone. The point is that Jordan was the gravitational force that pulled everyone else higher, the reason his teams transformed from contenders into dynasties. His leadership, his will, and his killer instinct made him the centerpiece of every championship run. And then comes the heaviest receipt of all. Larry Bird, a man with 3 championships, 3 MVPs, and a reputation as one of the fiercest competitors in NBA history, once called Michael Jordan a god in gym shorts. That wasn't hyperbole. That wasn't fan service. That was a warrior who battled Jordan firsthand, acknowledging that he had witnessed something otherworldly. When a legend of Bird's caliber uses that kind of language, the debate shifts. The ghost becomes untouchable. And that ghost will always wear 23. So here's the real question. Is this debate already over, sealed by history and reverence, or can LeBron still chase down the impossible in the twilight of his career? Has he already done enough to challenge Jordan's throne, or is the distance too great to ever close? We want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, join the conversation, and let your voice be part of the debate that never dies. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you're locked in for every drop of analysis, every hot take, and every new chapter in the GOAT conversation.